have the privilege of hearing from another visionary leader who understands the power of connection and community on a global scale. Michael Siegal, the president of Maccabi World Union, has dedicated his life to strengthening Jewish identity and unity across continents. His work bridges diaspora communities and Israel in ways that transform individual experiences into collective strength. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Maccabi World Union President Michael Siegal, who will be interviewed by Jerusalem Post correspondent Michael Starr.
Michael, thank you very much for joining us. It's always a little confusing when there's people with the same name on stage.
Yeah, it's Gabe and Michael and Michael. Yeah.
We'll take cues from the Iliad. You can be Michael the Important, and thanks at Speak, I'll be Michael the Single.
Okay, I like that.
There's other name confusions that often go on with Maccabiah. There's a lot of people that use that name, Maccabi. There's the health service. There's the Maccabi Games, Maccabiah. There's those guys that saved Hanukkah, the Maccabites, I think they were called. Can you tell us a little bit about the Maccabiah and the role that it plays?
Yeah, so I represent Maccabi World Union, which is the umbrella organization based in Israel that runs the Maccabiah, which is the games itself that occurs every 4 years. We have what we call territorial organizations, TOs, as we refer to them. It's our local franchise. So there'll be a franchise in every country. There'll be a Maccabi USA, Maccabi Canada, Maccabi Argentina, which hosted our Pan American Games last year, where we were privileged where President Malay showed up. So we have, in like 72 countries, we have our franchises. They run individual games for their youth and for general population. For us, we have a huge membership across the world. About 450,000 members belong to Maccabiah clubs around the world. And we're really more than an organization. We really are a movement designed for both Jewish strength and for Jewish continuity. Now, the
Maccabiah faces a bit of a challenge this year because of the war going on in Israel. How the rest of Israel has had to adapt with continuing on with daily life during the war. How is the Maccabiah going to be able to adapt? Is it going to be held in the same way? What are the challenges that you're going to be facing?
So it's interesting because it really is our intent to run a full Maccabiah Games. So we are in the planning process for early July to hold the games as they've been held in the past. So at this moment, and we're not naive to the challenge, is in fact we're planning about 10,000 athletes and support group to come to Israel. It will be the largest gathering of Jews to Israel post 10/7. There are many challenges, including funding, as we could say. Most importantly, if anybody has contacts with El Al, we could use more seats on planes, needless to say, or any other airlines. If you can tell them to open up the skies, it would be terrific. So we have this, not only the games themselves and getting the venues and getting the money and the support, we want to have all of the Israeli population participate in this games. So we're opening up what we call sort of an Olympic village in Tel Aviv, where all of the Israeli population can come, and we'll have this whole sports complex so that everybody can feel in touch, even if you're not participating in the games. So if in fact we have to adjust the games, because of situations where we can't get enough flights, or we don't have enough money, or there's things that are going on politically or in the war scenario. We'll adjust accordingly. But we want to do something that hasn't been done for a long time. We want to bring not just the resiliency and the strength, but we want to bring joy, which hasn't happened enough in Israel. So if we can pull these games off in the way that we're planning, we want to have a joyful experience, not just for the athletes and their families and their support groups, but we want it for the entire country of Israel to experience the joy of competition, fair play, and just having fun.
You mentioned fundraising challenges. Can I ask, were you able to overcome those?
Well, we haven't overcome them yet. I mean, we get financial support from the government, so we're obviously concerned about the budget, as it were. We're hoping that a sports owner like Gabe would come forward and write us a big check, but not that I want to pander for money, but I will. We have this vision. We will scale back accordingly, but we're looking for about $10 million, which is not a big number in the overall schematic of what sports is. Sports is an enormous, global phenomenon with significant finances around it. You just saw the new contract by Juan Soto. Just that alone, I'll take 1 month of his salary. He couldn't run the whole games. But what we're looking for from our supporters, and if anybody wants, we have naming rights for the games. We got the individual sports, and for the first time for you Floridians, we have pickleball that will be a sport in the Maccabi.
Well, I'm excited for pickleball. If only we knew some rich Jews. You've led some amazing Jewish organizations. You've been a prominent Jewish leader in several movements over the years, whether it be the Jewish Agency. How is Maccabi different? How is it unique in your eyes?
So there's a unique aspect to Maccabi. So for those of you who don't know, I've run the Sachnut Yehudit, the Jewish Agency, JFNA, Israel Bonds. What's unique about Maccabi is the fact that we have what every organization is looking for. We have young people, and we have people who are disconnected from the Jewish community. So if you take the statistics of the Maccabi movement, 80% of people who participate in Maccabi Games are under 35 years old. 80% of 400,000 people. Think about that. And then the other aspect which we have is 60% of people who play in our games have no connection to the Jewish community in any other avenue other than the sports that they participate in. So we have young people and we have disconnected. So we have this continuity bridge. If we can figure out what to do to keep them engaged after their Maccabi experience, we'd have a better, more resilient, and more connected Jewish community.
I think a lot of Jews kind of came into the fold and refound their connection after October 7th. And I think it's great that in the past they've done that through the Maccabiah, through these games, and I think that's even more important.
Yeah, nowadays. I think it's really important to understand that sports is universal. It's not gender. It's men, it's women. Particularly, we have an enormous Paralympics. They all go on concurrently. So we bridge politics. If you're left or right, you can compete on any of the sports, basketball, soccer, football, or any of the other paddle games, or we even have, some of our more senior people. We have people in their late 70s who are still playing ping pong competitively, believe it or not. And so it doesn't bridge age. It bridges age. It bridges gender. It bridges, people who are physically of less abilities. So within the Israeli society, where there's so much Paralympians, potentially, we want to make sure that these games reach all sectors of the Israeli society.
Yeah, you can play on the right side and the left side of the field on the same team in sports.
Left and right, they all meet in the middle.
Maccabi, how did it respond to October 7th itself? Was it able to bring people together in that?
For those who don't know, the Maccabi movement has a big campus in Ramat Gan. In that campus, we have a number of buildings, and we have a kind of an Israeli hotel. We also have parking. If people are looking for things, we have parking on our site. So when October 7th occurred, we actually opened up our facility that evening, and we have some Maccabi participants from the south. So within 1 week of October 7th, we had over 1,000 people of the South residing on our campus, recognizing that we were not a facility to house people with children and dogs and cats and all those other things. So we had to create schools, we had to create nursery schools, day schools, after-hour cares and teen camps. So we literally converted this entire campus to not only participate or be used for sports, we literally converted the entire campus within days to house and create the resiliency and the safety for the people of the South. So we maintained about 1,000 people. We had glamping. We had people going on for psychological counseling. We opened up tents on our campus, and people resided in the tents. So we literally had, I think, more people on our campus residing for the period of time that the government supported it, which was an unusual occurrence that we could literally respond the evening of October 7th to tell people, you're welcome to come and just take over our site.
Well, we are under the specter of war, and I hope we don't have to celebrate the Maccabiah and play these games in a time of war. Hopefully the war will be over by then. The hostages will be back in our arms. But if it is the case that we have to play during the war, I still look forward to the Maccabiah Games.
No, thank you. I think we want to invite everybody. Come join us. We're opening up at Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem with the festivities. We want all of you to be with us. So thank you, and we look forward to having the games. Thank you.